It's a fourth line day. We're in gate 57, and the fourth line is the director. The exaltation says the mastery of relationships that through clarity can maximize productivity, while the sensitivity to interrelationships will ensure harmony. The possible intuitive clarity to master relationships. Fourth lines have a theme of externalizing. This is what they do. And what they really want to master, if there's no 28 and or 38, is the relationship with those that manifest their knowing. They want to master the 20, but they'll settle for the 34, of course, and they'll even settle for the 10. But really the 34, that's the generator connection, where the 10 is not. So the energy is going to be the preference of the 57, but they'll try to master those three in order to always be able to get access to externalize to those types. If you're a 57-4 and you're living out your design, you will get those who will resonate to all of that into your life. They come quite naturally. We don't have to go out and find them and hunt them down. Here lies the intuition to be able to stay alive through a need for others. These are people who are always going to be dependent on others to keep them alive so that they can get their perfected form. 57 needs the 10, the 20, and the 34. Due to its externalization quality, everything about the fourth line is that it is deeply focused and fixed in one area. These are people fixed on the relationship. They're fixed on being able to deal with their fear of tomorrow by intuitively recognizing how to handle their relationships with others. This is by its very nature quite selfish. Because it's a fourth line, it resonates to the emotional wave of kindness, meanness, or brotherhood, sisterhood. It resonates to the awareness field of corruption. Think about this, and what it actually means. The fourth line, the director, this is definitely a skill. This is an intuitive capacity to work with people in order to be able to survive in the now. Fourth lines are always about the others, finding the other, having their network. In the detriment, a tendency given this position to be a dictatorial rather than directorial. Did I get that right? With the clarity to master relationships, the possibility of being intuitively directorial. This is the 5720 saying you have to be here now, controlling the now, controlling their access to the manifestation, and being a fourth line, they're fixed on that. If the 28 or the 38 and or 38 is present, then they tend to do that with the awareness of empowering others within that process, to empower others to be directors themselves. However, without the 28 and or 38, they are simply there for themselves, being the example of what that looks like. The individual does not want to be led. This is a theme of individuality. It doesn't matter which gate we look at within the circuit. This is an individual who says, you must do this. If you don't do this, the boat is going to sink and we're all going down with it. They are only really interested in staying alive, doing what it takes to stay alive, playing nice with other people in order to stay alive. This is the possible intuitive clarity to master relationships. And why? For the benefit of survival. For the benefit of getting to the now, or for the benefit of getting that delicious energy from the 34. Being either intuitively directorial or intuitively dictatorial is not a mental concept. Many people who have this line, they may end up feeling quite guilty in their life because they hear themselves being intuitively dictatorial in the moment, and they wonder where the hell that came from. Why are they being like that? Because they don't really know themselves. Everything that you see in a line, you get. When you have the detriment of this line, you will be intuitively dictatorial. And that's subjective, of course. These people are like that because it is not up to them to be able to survive. This is a fourth line. They're always convinced that they need others to help them to survive. And in that moment, they tell people what to do in order that they can survive. The others may survive too, but the fourth line is really only interested in themselves because this is individual circuitry. And it sounds cruel. It's not cruel. It's the program. All of this is the program. It's not personal and it's not judgmental. There's no morality in human design. This is just the way that the individuality is designed to be, and integration specifically is designed to be. It's all about survival of the self in the now. You may see that there are limitations that go along with this, and that actually would be the grounding influence coming in from the fourth line in gate 51, which is called limitation. And it's a pure inventiveness to find some opportunity, even in the midst of the most devastating shocks. Survival can be a shocking business. Hearing yourself being dictatorial in the moment, when really you're a kind and sensitive, sisterly kind of person, that could have some limitations, and it could also be quite shocking to hear that coming out of you, especially if somehow along the line you are resisting your own nature. So the moon, La Luna, is still in gate 38, fighting for its individual fight, its individual struggle. And it moves into gate 54 at 1444. This is now tribal energy, gate 54, and it brings a channel with Mercury, who is currently in gate 32. This is the channel of transformation, beginning with the drive to rise up and transform the material ambitions of the tribe, ensuring through continuity that the tribe thrives. Oh, excuse me, the tribe thrives. And then the moon moves into gate 61 at just before 1 o'clock tomorrow morning, 0058. This is the gate of mystery, of inner truth, up in the head center. This is the pressure to know the unknown, and sometimes to accept that there are some things that will always be unknown, the unknowable. Doesn't matter how long we think about them, how hard we think about them, how depressed we get because they're not coming. There are some things that we'll never, ever know. This is another individual gate, and one that can get quite depressed when the pressure to know isn't satisfied. All of individuality has that, has the potential to feel depression because of the pulse energy that comes. When it comes and it fires you up with that inspiration or that mutative moment, oh, it can be so delicious and it can feel so alive and, very vital force. And of course, then when it's not there, that can really puncture the balloon. And that's when the depression can come in. And it's also a place where the depression could be maybe more of a melancholy. And the melancholy is closely related to the creativity of the muse. So if you have a lot of individuality in your design, these are themes that you can become aware of and play with. The depression, particularly with the formats and with those three channels between the head and the ajna, which are almost a mirror. I mean, they are a mirror, but they're not. Ra said they were kind of like formats, but they're not formats. Formats have got that depressive kind of potential, but all of individuality has a melancholic potential. But as I say, melancholy, it's a chemistry. It's one of those things, it doesn't need to be justified or explained, but it does really need to be felt. And on the back of that, riding on the train of that melancholy, the gown of melancholy, I was going to say, is the muse. And this is when things change and things can turn around, and that creativity comes in, and that spark of mutation, that spark of something new. Okay, enough from me for today. Thank you very much for joining me. Line 5 tomorrow, and the line is called Progression. I look forward to seeing you then. And as always, until that point, go gently. Have a wonderful day, evening, and love yourself as always. Bye-bye.